Hello, so I'm going to be live streaming for at least an hour. I've got the Chinese half face mask on again, and you can sort of fit glasses over the top of it well enough to see out of, which is nice. So I'll wear this for the beginning of the stream, and then when I want to drink some coffee, I'll take it off. So I'll just wait for people to get into the chat now. Assume it might do the thing where it takes a minute or so to send the notifications out. We've got a like, so I assume somebody's clicked on the stream. I can see the number in the top corner now saying that people are coming on. Hello. Yeah, it's a Chinese half face mask that's actually pretty decent for what it is. You can get these pretty cheaply and they're made quite well. Alright, I am the Typer, Defiant Shackleton, and everybody else coming on. Alright, Richard. So yeah, I had work today, finished work. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because it seems the more likes the streams get, the more YouTube shares them. So if you click the thumbs up, it seems to actually go to more people. Yeah, thank you, Zeppelin. If you have an idea, Alex, please post it. If it's feasible, I'll do it. But bear in mind, a lot of the time when people say I've got an idea for a video, I've already done them. No, you've only missed about a minute, Mike. The first minute, I don't think anybody had got the notification yet, because I was just saying, like, welcome to the stream, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. Yeah, I was saying it's just a cheap Chinese mask, but it's actually quite good. I want to see if I can find different filters for this, though. So, obviously, it's got an intake and an exhale valve, pretty simple. There's the exhale valve. That's the inhale valve, because you see, if I breathe heavily, the valve's actually working. But it uses these sort of clip-on filters. So sort of I was wondering, can you get other filters to fit this mask? Let me flick that other light on. Yeah, I've watched Skilligrim's videos. Don't watch all his videos, but if he's doing one on a particular sword or weapon I'm interested in, I'll watch him. Yeah, I've got a few Kevlar helmets. So let's just pop that filter back on. There we go, it just clicks on like that. And as you see, it actually pressurizes. No, I don't have any cold weather masks, actually. Maybe I ought to get one at some point. See the bows in the background, James. Yeah, I've done that in some of the videos, Alex, and they always work. Yeah, I've got crossbows. Look on my videos. What, the Y2K? There's one Y2K there and another Y2K there. That's the older retro style one. That's the slightly newer Y2K. The newer ones are better because they've got a better strap system. But yeah, Y2K masks, they're called. Yeah, the Draeger M65 is there, look. You can see it up there. Between the Sieb Gorman one and the Bulgarian PG1. It's literally on the screen right now. I've got a Draeger M62 as well, which is actually a lot rarer, but that's in a damaged condition. Currently the Scott GSR bit's being phased out for an Avon mask, but they've not announced what mask it is yet. I wasn't going to probably buy a retro one if I got one, Mace. I was probably going to get an original, but thanks for saying anyway. Or the one today testing the old baking tray. Yeah, it held up surprisingly well, didn't it? A few people, I think, missed the point of that video because they were saying, oh, but somebody could just stab you around the plate. Well, yeah, that's true of any body armor, isn't it? If somebody stabs you in a place that you're not wearing armor over, of course it's not going to work. But the point is for not much money, or if you're throwing away an old baking tray, it will actually work against knives. I've got Soviet SS Leto camo, but not like uniforms. I like the M2. There's been plenty of Y2Ks on eBay when I've looked. Let me look again. But I think a lot of the people aren't looking very hard. So let's see. Y2K respirator. Oh, look, here they are. There you go. Oh, thank you very much, Laser Point. Cheers, I appreciate that. I've got this mask on you said about before, and it's actually good. I'll probably get round to filming a proper video on this tomorrow, but then it's still going to be another month before it's live. But, yeah, this is the sort of Chinese cheap half face mask thing, and it's actually good. Unlike that one there, that's shit, but this one's actually kind of good. No, I haven't heard of that at all, Eurasian Links, but it sounds interesting. You just want to basically get a damp cloth and very gently, Mace, just rub it over it. You don't want to put it in a sink or anything like that with the stocking net on. No, don't collect coins or banknotes or anything like that. Yeah, I think it's pretty much impossible, Richard, isn't it, to make a suit of armour that would cover absolutely every bit of the body absolutely fine and still give good mobility and everything. It just can't be done. Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing, can you get more filters like this? Because this is just like a click-on filter. Basically, all it does, if you see this, is you push it on and it clicks on. And it seems to seal fine, but... So this is called a 3700N, if the webcam wants to focus. Yeah, there we go, 3700N, so it's obviously particulate one, organic vapor one. When I tested this with banana oil, you can smell it very, very faintly coming through. So this does work a lot better than some of the other Chinese small filters. But yeah, I'd be interested in, can you get a P3 filter for this that just sits on the front? Or just a, like P2A2 filter or something like that. There aren't replica GP5s. They're all real. I don't see why I'd want a KGB medal. Oh, today is not that day, Mr. J. Let me go through all the German gas masks I own. I'm not going to include East German stuff that they didn't make, but just imported from the Soviet Union. But I've got a German World War II Volksmask or Volksmask 37, a Volksmask 40. So that's 2. Alright, cheers, Laser, again. I've got a German World War II GM 38, so that's 3. I've got a Draeger M62 and a Draeger M65, so that's 5. And have I got any other German masks? Oh yeah, I've got the GM54, is it, in really bad condition? Which is kind of like a GM30, but just made after World War II. So I guess I have 6 German masks in total, I would guess. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got 6, unless I'm forgetting any. I mean, I'm not counting any of the German-made MSAs or anything like that, because they're kind of just like industrial masks made in a German factory by an American company. So I could probably add more masks to the list if I wanted to. Like I could say I've got an East German Schums, but it's actually, just obviously made somewhere else in Eastern Europe, put in an East German bag. There are horse gas masks, but I don't own any. There are also like dog gas masks and other things. Yeah, dog masks are pretty rare because obviously, other than like World War I and World War II, they were never really made. I have no idea what that is. But is it just a GP5? The thing is, Alex, a lot of those are fake, so unfortunately, unless it was from a really good verified seller, I'd never risk buying one, because you're probably going to get an airsoft type replica. That's cool, Richard. Hopefully that'll work. What sort of stuff are you planning on doing with your belt grinder when you've got it set up? A safe one would be a Polish FT5, Andre, but I don't know how much, if that would be cheap or not. Right. Put this back on. There we go. You can actually twist the filter if you really wanted to as well. Not that there's really any point in doing that. So obviously it makes more sense to have the filter covering the exhale valve like that. The Serbian M2. It's like an M9, but a bit downsized. Yeah, it's comfortable enough. It's not as comfortable as a Finnish M61, but it's still fairly comfortable. Yeah, but lots of sellers, James, don't care. They just want to sell a mask. They do not care if you get asbestosis or whatever else. As long as they don't get sued, they do not care. Right, I tell you what, Geigen, I'm going to Google this, but I bet it's just a GP5. Yeah, it's just a GP5. The ones that say they're reproductions, they're lying, okay? They are not reproduction GP5s, they are fucking GP5s. Because nobody is going, oh, the most common produced mask in the world, I better set up a factory and do reproductions of that. They just sell you the real ones and go, oh, no, it's a reproduction, it's not an original. Alright, Lloyd, the second bit of your name's easier to pronounce, so I'll just call you Lloyd. No, I can't read Russian. I stream most days, but not every day. What's the Cold War MC respirator? I have to Google it. Do you mean like the MC1? The MC1 is alright. Oh yeah, they're literally MC1s. Yep, the MC1 is fine. It depends on the nation. France used the M51 and M53. Britain used the S10. America used the M17. Iraq, I think, had some sort of M9 clone during the Gulf War. Trying to think if anybody else is involved in the Gulf War. Never even heard of it. Right. I know about Area 51, but only what other people know about it, but it's a secret military installation. I've seen a couple laser, but I've never seen them for good prices. Have you found one that's relatively cheap? Because I've seen like a Scott one that's just a half face mask with a 40mm port on, but I think when I saw them for sale, they were like £30 or £40. And I thought that's a bit overpriced for just something like this with a 40mm screw on it. Well, I can get you the box with the Chinese stuff on it, but I don't know if that will help you in any way. Maybe it's called the 3700, I don't know. That one's got a picture on the filter. Mine doesn't have a picture on the filter. But yeah, I would guess 3700 is the name of it. Alright, see you, Aegis. Alright, Einstens, if that's how I pronounce your name. As I've said before, they're deactivated, so they don't have bullets in. Some of them have got inert cartridges in, but obviously not live ammunition because they're deactivated. And live ammunition would be covered under the same laws as live firearms. The M1 and the MC1 mace are nowhere near as good as the M2, so I kind of advise not to get those if you wanted a proper mask. Other than using inhalers, not much. If you ventilate your room or you've got a... I mean, you can get something like this thing I've got here. I don't know if I can get it up into frame. Hang on. Will that go into the frame? Yeah, just about. You can get one of these, like a HEPA air purifier, where they suck air through the back. It's got like filters in the back of it. Let me just move it this way a bit. So basically, how these work is you see all the dust on there? You've got a foam bit on it. Yeah, let me just turn that off a second. Otherwise that's not going to come off, is it? But anyway, you've got a foam bit that's in front of the HEPA filter. Then you've got a charcoal filter in there for absorbing smells. So that removes dust from the air in a room, because obviously it's constantly sort of just pulling through air through a dust filter. Antihistamines, which are hay fever tablets, can help. Okay, thanks for letting me know, Laser. That's sort of interesting. But yeah, this mask, oh look, you can see the line it's left in my head from the harness. But yeah, this mask is surprisingly good, actually. Oh, let me put the webcam back in the middle of the screen. There we go. That'll do. So yeah, this is surprisingly good, because as I said, it's just a very simple half face mask, but it's actually quite comfortable and lightweight. There's some writing on there, but I bet the webcam won't want to focus on it. So that says 3,900. Or is it 3,600? So yeah, this says 3,600, but it says 3,700 on the filter. So I don't know which one it is, but... yeah, that mask's quite good, Laser, but yeah. I mean, I can see the advantage of a 40mm face mask, but I think unless you were using things like those Scott Pro filters that are quite lightweight, like the one I've got on the shelf up there, which is probably just out of frame, I think unless you're using something like this, a regular 40mm filter might weigh a bit too much on a half face mask and like pull it down a bit too much. I don't know. But... Right, let me catch up with the chat anyway. Fiberglass, as in ballistic fiber, isn't as good as Kevlar. If you add a thick enough amount, it might work, but again, it depends a lot on compression. I wouldn't advise making bulletproof vests yourself unless you use really good materials. I'm good, Michael. Thanks. Very busy day at work, but thankfully, obviously, my work for the weekend is over. Also, regarding the new computer, for anyone that's wondering, although it may be 2 weeks before I get it, by the look of the current estimated delivery day and all that, it might be this Friday. So I'm hoping it's obviously going to be this week and not 2 weeks' time, but we'll see. It depends, I guess, how fast they get all the AMD stuff back in stock. I mean, a vacuum is... The point of a vacuum, isn't it, that it collects dust? I mean, as long as you don't empty it in your house and get dust everywhere. Yeah, that's annoying, isn't it? Like you're saying in the Discord, Laser, that, yeah, you get somebody go, oh, I'm going to offer you this product. It's great, but I'm not going to actually post it to you. It's like, what's the point then? Well, I guess maybe they don't actually know you're in Australia or whatever. Yeah, if you just wanted it for a costume or something, Mace, the Serbian M1 looks cool, and it's obviously like a green colour, rather than just being like black or white like lots of masks are. But I just wouldn't really recommend it as an actual functional mask, because it's in 60mm NATO, not 40mm NATO. It's an outdated filter type, and yes, you can get 60 to 40mm converters, But the rubber of the mask is also renowned not to be very good. So, you know, there's a high chance that if exposed to certain chemicals, the rubber might fall apart quite quickly. No, I don't sell any gas masks. I just collect them. I mean, if potentially somebody offered me a really good price for one of my rarer masks, there's a chance I might think about selling it, but I've not really got any inclination to do that. If I was in, like, financial trouble, I might do, but at the moment, you know, like, I work 2 sort of jobs, so there's not really any risk of that. I'm trying to think, really, because in all honesty, Alex, I don't watch a lot of gas mask type videos on YouTube, just because it might sound weird, but when you kind of collect this sort of stuff, you don't really want to spend a load more time looking up the sort of stuff. I read, like, books and stuff on masks, but in terms of a channel that used to be really good, but I don't know if he still makes videos, he used to be called Retro Respirators, and he just used to do videos on, like, really old and rare masks, so his were quite interesting, because if he had a mask, most YouTube channels wouldn't have it. But yeah, I don't know if Hype does videos, because he's obviously got quite a good knowledge on masks. I think there's guy, is it called the Gas Mask Guys? He's done some good videos on masks. Because I'm trying to think of, like, the people who don't get involved in sort of e-drama stuff. Because, like I said, I really can't be asked for that sort of shit. But rarest mask I have, I've got 2 separate British C7 respirators. One's in silver, one's in a gold kind of trim on the exhale valve. So they're probably my rarest mask. Because the C7, for the people that don't know, it was where in the Cold War, Britain decided they were going to make masks for civilians, and then they actually said, fuck that, they're all going to die anyway. It's not worth the effort. So they just recycled all the masks they made. But for whatever reason, not all of them got recycled back into, like, rubber and parts. So now and again, you'll find them for sale, but they're quite rare, especially out of the UK. Yeah, I like 80s music a lot, Iron Man Spot. And of course, I'm not going to say I like all 80s music, but Frankie Goes to Hollywood and a lot of, like, 80s synth sort of stuff I like. Russia still makes Ghost threaded filters, and I think China still makes Ghost threaded filters for their own market. But that's pretty much it as far as I'm aware. Maybe there's some more, like, the old Russian republics that do it and things like that, but for the most part, like, every country uses 40mm NATO now. What do you mean by that? The masks are rubber band. I mean, I've got things like the GP5s, but is that the one you mean? I've got things like the PTM as well, which is a dust mask. I've got the Y2Ks, which, like the ones that were in Chernobyl, which are just dust masks. The biggest filter I have, maybe things like the EO14s or the EO65s or the EO16s, whatever you want to call the coffee cans or the big box filters. Quite a lot of prog rock and soundtracks, to be honest, Nazar, but I like anything that sounds good to me. I've been using that one quite a lot for just doing random sort of playing about with it kind of things. Because obviously, this is my most interesting one because it's got the alpha probe on it. So take that off. Put it on. Because, yeah, the interesting thing of this one is because it's got an alpha probe and you can cover the alpha probe up with a bit of plastic, what ends up happening is, like, say I put the plastic cover on it, other than where there's a little hole in it, I think, so you don't create a vacuum and damage the alpha probe. So if I do that now, and you've only got beta and gamma going through, and I think americium only gives off gamma and alpha. See, the counts are much lower, despite the fact I've got the probe literally right there. You're probably at like 4 or 5 counts per second, not up to 2,000 counts per second. This is like a lab spec Geiger counter. That's why it goes up to 2,000 counts per second. Because a lot of the military ones are like counts per minute. So this is actually a lot more accurate. But again, it's one for like scientific lab use, not like military field use. But in terms of like modern Geiger counters, things like the SOX 01Ms and that are very good. Yeah, I like Weapon Collector stuff, obviously. He's on the main channels that influence me, and that's why he's a mod on here and everything. I've known him for ages. Don't know the one you mean, Call Me Gold. I know they do like a camo mask, don't they now, which is like an activated carbon sort of mask, and I always forget the name of it, and people always remind me every stream, and then I forget the name of it. No, I'm hopefully going to Ukraine next year, Bimpy, because I want to go to Chernobyl. My dad wants to go to Chernobyl as well. I've wanted to go for years, and he's wanted to go for years. It's not just because like the recent TV series, like a lot of people are going now. But the last time we were going to go was when the sort of civil unrest, civil war, whatever you want to call it, Russian interference happened in Ukraine. And then obviously with the Malaysian airliners being shot down and all that sort of stuff, it meant a lot of holidays were cancelled or people were told, you know, probably best not to go. So that year we ended up going somewhere else instead. I think that was the year we went to Hungary and everything. But yeah, we'll be hopefully going this year or like next year. If it was my own personal use Iron Man, yeah, I would definitely prefer something that's more rugged and reliable over like high precision accuracy, but more likely to go wrong kind of thing. If I was outfitting a military, that wouldn't necessarily be the case. But for my own personal use, yeah, I'd like something I'd find hard to break because I can be clumsy at times. Unless you're kicking up loads of dust and doing stupid stuff, Alex, it's completely safe. Well, when I say completely safe, what I mean is the background radiation in a lot of the zone is only slightly higher than what you'd get in most parts of the world. That because obviously the massive cleanup operation they did. Now, there are places in the zone which you wouldn't be allowed on a regular, proper guided tour. Where like the basement of Pripyat Hospital, obviously the basement of the power plant, inside bits of the power plant, bits where they missed bits of graphite that are still there. Those are still very dangerous. But in terms of what you see on a regular tour, that's completely safe, really. Yeah, I've got a Brody helmet. Look at my videos on them. Oh, thank you very much, Laserpoint. That's a really nice, generous donation. Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing you were saying, wasn't it? So, were they Soviet-era ones, or were they more modern? So they're plastic rather than like metal. So that's quite interesting. I wonder what could have done that. So were they all? Yeah, they were all sealed. That is very strange, though, isn't it? I wonder if it was something even like really silly, like they used some sort of glue when they were sealing it in, and they screwed up with the glue. I think anything that gives you more caffeine would certainly be useful, Iron Man. Because I mean, obviously in World War II, the Germans like giving their own troops loads of stimulants like methamphetamine or one type of amphetamine, didn't they? And the idea was that for people who might be dead quite soon, the long-term health effects of giving them drugs like that weren't really an issue. So, keeping guys pretty much awake 24/7 on stimulants was obviously a good idea. So, yeah, I think in certain scenarios, loads of caffeine or stimulants might be a good idea if your survival's at risk, and you just need to keep pushing yourself. Just because I find them interesting recoil, and they're quite cheap compared to them. It's interesting, laser, isn't it? Because the only other Soviet filters I know of that are plasticky, are they called BTK filters or something like that? I don't know if they're called BTK filters. Because BTK is the American serial killer, isn't it? Bind, torture, kill. Dennis Rader, BTK. But yeah, the Soviet industrial ones that have the really cool see-through plastic on where you can actually see the charcoal inside the filter. Can't remember the names of them. But they're interesting because I know with some of those they were safe Soviet filters, because if you got the ones that only contain the charcoal in it, they don't really have a particle filter, just enough to stop charcoal leaking out of either end. They're safe in the sense that as long as the charcoal's not leaking, there's no asbestos or anything in it. But yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even know those existed until you got them. No, my dad finds a lot of stuff interesting, but he doesn't really find a lot of military stuff all that interesting. Like my granddad does because he was in World War II. And like some of my other relatives and that find lots of this stuff interesting. But my dad's more into like bird watching and nature kind of stuff, to be honest. So he's one of the guys who'd be really keen on going on like a long hike somewhere or a big camping trip, but not from the military survival kind of aspect of it, just more because he likes nature sort of thing. I mean, I don't think my life is all that interesting, Iron Man Spartan. I know some people might disagree with that, but when I'm a bit older, maybe my opinion will change on that, but at the moment, not really. No, that was asked earlier in the stream. I don't collect coins or stamps or anything like that. Yeah, you've already said, Alex. But like I said, I'll look at different options when I go. It's over on that wall. Look, just to prove it. See, there it is. British wall mammals. It's over there. This is obviously a better backdrop for the stream. That's just because I find stuff interesting, Iron Man, to be honest. I think this goes for everyone, obviously, because I've got autism and high-functioning Asperger's, but whatever. I think because of that, some stuff will stick in my head more than other things. But I think everybody, if they find certain stuff interesting, you know, knowledge sticks. But I think the problem is for a lot of people, they don't seem to find stuff interesting. Like the amount of people I speak to, and I'm not like, oh, stupid normies, that kind of thing. But you know what I mean? Where they don't seem to have any hobbies whatsoever or interests. It's like, what do you like to do? I like to spend all my money on beer. And then it's like, okay. So what do you, I'll watch the football. It's like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean now? It's that sort of thing. I don't know, wilderness system. I think most ABEC filters are equal because they've got that rating system. You know, if it's ABEC 2P3, most brands are going to be similar. I think it really depends. Are they foil wrapped? You know, how well wrapped are they? I prefer the CT12, but for most people, the FM12 is better. I'm glad you enjoyed the videos, Mason, all that. I really don't know, Bradley, because when I got my first mask, which is my Finish M61, I was probably like 11 or 12 or something. I really can't remember. Maybe a bit older than that. But it depends when you consider it like to be more serious collecting. Because obviously, as I got older and when I had like a full-time job at 18, that's when I started collecting a lot more stuff. Because I had a lot more money to do it. What do you mean, Alex? Sorry. I've got the Y2Ks up there. Or do you mean the ones on the poster or what? I've got the PTM, or that's the full face dust respirator. I've got that Chinese one that I was showing earlier in the stream. Yeah, tanks are interesting, and other armoured fighting vehicles. Well, there's those cheap Chinese ones over there. The goggles are separate. I've just got that stuck on an EO14 at the moment. But yeah, the goggles are separate and the mask. The annoying thing is this mask could kind of be good if it had a little bit more quality control put into it. If this was just particulate filters on it, not shitty vapor filters, and the straps were a little bit better on it, that might be a good mask. But sadly, it's not, because the rubber's all right on it. It's just... Again, saying the rubber's all right on it, then it'd be pretty much this mask, wouldn't it? If it was built to a better standard. Because it's almost is this mask, but this has got like a 3M style head harness on it. I've got a few World War II gas masks. There's one there. I'll just move the camera a bit further left so you can see it a bit better. There's a British Mark IV there. I've got some other World War II masks. All right, cool. Yeah, thanks, Laserpoint. I do appreciate that again, because obviously I spent a shitload of money recently on the new PC. But yeah, I do always appreciate your donations, or anybody else that donates, obviously. But yeah, and anybody that likes the lighter videos, because I know I've not done a lighter video in ages, I have got a new lighter on order now. It's a new lighter in the style of some of the retro old sort of liquid fuel, petrol, gasoline lighters, whatever you want to call them. This one's got a bottle opener built in, so it looks like it might be a good like EDC lighter. So I'll definitely do a video on that when that comes.
Right, the new PC is a Ryzen 3900X, which is currently the best processor on the market. You can get full stop. The new AMD, like top end one, until the new AMD Threadripper comes out. Then that'll be better. Graphics card, is it the 5700 XT it's called? It's AMD's kind of new mid to high range GPU. Then I'm got 32 gig, I think it is, DDR4 RAM on there. What else was there? I think it's an X570 motherboard. Alright, had a good exercise, Mike. At least it's not as hot today, is it? Even with both lights on this room, it's only just got to 27 degrees. If you had enough of it, call me God, I think you could, but it'd be a bit difficult and long-winded. Yeah, it's because 9mm moves faster, isn't it? I mean, there's lots of good videos comparing them, but I think really when it comes to firearms, especially pretty similar pistol calibers, obviously I'm not in America or anything, so I don't conceal carry a pistol or whatever, but I think just carry what you're comfortable using, and you get a lot of time to practice with. Because I think all these like 45 versus 9mm versus 40 versus 357 SIG, and all those kind of conversations, it's just carry a pistol you like, get good at practicing with it, drawing with it, a pistol you trust and all that. That's the most important thing. Not theoretically, this one goes 1 centimeter further into a target. Yeah, because the thing is, the reason I've not bought any new lighters for ages, to be honest, is just that when I've been looking for lighters online, when I occasionally look, it seems there's not all that many designs I've not got. And I wouldn't mind getting some more vintage old lighters, but a lot of those I can't even see. Like, other than the Imcos and the Zippos, you now and again see quite expensive old retro lighters, but for the most part I don't see that many like retro lighters, unfortunately. It's a shame like how many gas masks and everything is about. You think how many people used to smoke, you'd hope there'd be like way more lighters available on eBay and places like that, old lighters. But sadly there doesn't seem to be. You can sometimes find a few old Soviet designs on eBay, but it seems like they probably stuck with a mass-produced lighter design in lots of countries for years and just, like saying, stuck with it, rather than, coming up with new designs every few years. Well, there's not a table there. There's a bed, but yes, there is Belgian jigsaw sitting here, my Belgian jigsaw shorts. But the thing is, these are quite faded, and where they're faded, they're actually quite effective as a camo, because they don't seem to be like bright pink and yellow like some jigsaw camos do. These have almost gone rust color due to the sort of pink fading. So it looks slightly blue on the webcam, but that does look green to my eye, or at least turquoise. But yeah, Belgian jigsaw. Yeah, I think sadly, probably, Lazy, you're right. I think a lot of people probably just throw them away, don't they? When a lighter stops working. Because that's like the sad thing of a lot of the old Imcos, that they're really good lighters, especially if people bother to restore them or, keep the parts for them. But, because yeah, it's the whole thing, isn't it, where lots of things now are designed to be disposable and everything. Because lots of people like Bic lighters, and yeah, Bics are alright, but you're paying for a lighter you can't even refill without modifying it. And that's why I like the old Imcos, because, I mean, let me get my Imco. There you go. This old Imco, no idea which year this Imco was made, but it's going to be pretty old. There you go. If it focuses. Probably not going to want to focus now, is it? But yeah, old Imcos. As you can see, it sparked absolutely fine then. I've not got any fuel in it, so it's not going to light. But, if you keep something like this in good condition, these are absolutely brilliant lighters, and they're built to last a lot more than sort of modern stuff is. But sadly, I think we're in an age of lots of consumable throwaway things where nobody wants to fix anything anymore or keep it going. They'd rather just buy some, mass-produced disposable thing, which I guess is fine. But, if you had a lighter like this and you took care of it, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run, and you're not going to waste lots of plastic, are you? So that's probably a bigger complaint out of things like Bic lighters. If they're designed to be thrown away and they're made of plastic, think how much plastic pollution that's making. At least with refillable lighters, you're not throwing your lighter away every single time you've emptied a lighter. I've just got a message. Let me check what that was. Let me turn that off. It's where you get a buzz like you think you're getting a text or a proper message, and then it's an app going, oh, log in now and check blah, 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 blah. So, fuck off. I can see the comment you've just made, Simon, that says, can you see my comments? But yeah, sorry, I haven't been reading comments for a bit because I was going off on a tangent about lighters. But, right. Here's a good gas mask book, but this is obviously one specialised for a certain history period. British military respirators and anti-gas equipment of the 2 World Wars. So this is one that shows like all the World War I stuff. Like the World War II things as well. See, there's like the Mark IV, like the one that's over there to the left. Yeah, it's because titanium, they've got a lot of it, haven't they, in Russia, Iron Man Spartan? America actually bought titanium from the Soviet Union during the Cold War under, like, front companies to use in their own equipment, which is quite funny. Nah, people have been asking me about collecting gold and coins and all that all through the stream. I kept saying no every time. Let me look that up, Owen or Ewan. That sounds quite interesting. Oh, yeah, it's what, $9.99 for one of those. Let me, I'll get a window with that open, and I will buy that a bit later, not lighter. Yeah, cool. Oh, it's one of those survival match ones, is it? The only problem with those permanent match kind of lighters is I had one and it broke really quickly. That one looks a lot better than the one I had, but again, the only issue is I've used that kind of light before and I really don't like it. But it seems the company that makes that do other types of lighters, not just that one. So I might have a look a bit later once the stream's finished and see if they do a light that I like the look of more. But yeah, the permanent match kind of lighters, there's just too much that can go wrong with them. Yeah, there's lots of things like that, isn't there, Richard, where this is not true of everything, but there's lots of old equipment that was just made because the company didn't want to, their brand name to be on something that would break. Right, let me search Gina Always VIP, the that other brand of lighter you suggested, because if people have got brands of lighter they want me to review, assuming that it's not, oh, cool, yeah, antique petrol lighters, yeah, definitely have a look at those later. Yeah, but sort of what I was saying is, my mind's gone blank now. That's an FP203, Simon. The only thing, Samuel, is if it's a panoramic mask that's got a polycarbonate visor, it should stand up to BBs fine, and well, at least plastic airsoft BBs. If it's something like that old Steve Gorman VistaVision, that's going to be glass. So obviously, do not shoot an antique mask with things, because when you're destroying an antique, and if your face is behind it, your eyes might get shot out, or the glass shards might slice your face open. So don't bother with that. Field jackets. I really like the old Serbian and Yugoslavian field jackets. They're a bit like M65 jackets. US M65 jackets are very good as well. But there's loads of old good field jackets if you look for army surplus stores, whatever. And that's the thing that's a real pity about there not being as many brick and mortar army surplus stores, because I really like looking through those when they're around. Jackets, so you can see the pocket layout, see if the buttons and the zips are good, see if the camo's faded or not. Okay, ask your question about a World War II helmet, then, and maybe I can answer it. In a rainforest, if there's going to be a lot of humidity and things like that, Iron Man, I'd want a good chunky revolver. Just because I trust that more. In terms of like reliability, obviously revolvers have a lot less that can go wrong on them than a semi-auto pistol. But again, it depends on the scenario, doesn't it? But yeah, unless it's like a really robust old pistol, like a 1911 or a Browning high power, I'd say something like, you know, an old Webley revolver or one of those, just because of how solid they are. I've got an East German M56 helmet. Well, I've not done anything that would get me arrested, Iron Man. I mean, I've done room clearing kind of exercises with some of my DX, but the FAL is not good for room clearing because of how big it is. It's like a Lee Enfield, you know, it's full-on proper length rifle. The Stalker games are better in my opinion, but Fallout I think is easier to get into if you're a new gamer. Yep, don't forget to like the stream, everyone. Thanks, Rich. Yep, I have no problem with people if they're vegetarian or vegan. Like, personally, I'm not, but, you know, like I said, as long as they don't push it on other people. Their bodies, their rights, you know, whatever. Is that the one that you see people wearing with the XM28s? Let me search that. Army Air Force M3 helmets. Also, hello, shots on me. Or am I thinking of a different helmet? It's a cool looking helmet though, with the massive ear flaps. I don't know if that's the helmet I'm thinking of or not, but there's a helmet you see helicopter pilots with in Vietnam with XM28s on. I mean, most gases will clog gas mask filters, but I think mustard broke down filters a lot faster than phosgene and chlorine did. But they often deployed lots of gases at once in World War One. You know, the idea being that it broke down filters and, you know, the masks quicker. No, I don't have any Acme masks, sadly. I've already done a video on those, Miracle Machine. I've done some camo tests of them as well. Yeah, you can stretch it. Bear in mind, if you stretch it too much, it won't go back, Alex. So stretch it slowly over time, because you don't want to stretch it too much and then it'd be too big. What type of German helmet? There's several types of German helmets. World War I German helmets, World War II German helmets, Cold War German helmets. Which type? Well, the ones I've got is, I think I've got maybe one M89. I've got two, I think, M93 jackets. But the one I did the camo test on was the M93 that was faded, which I since dyed more. But at my army surplus before they closed, they did have like one that wasn't faded at all, so I bought that. Which dust mask video? Lava llama. Specify which mask. Shot Zombies just answered your question, Roblox. Depends on the condition, how much the seller wants for it, which model of helmet it is, but you're going to have to pay a lot for a World War II German helmet. It might even not be an M87, I've got the other one, but it looks a bit different than the other pattern ones. I've got a couple of old Vostocks, Alex, and that's it. And I've got the World War II German watch my granddad gave me, which is radioactive. Let me show you that one. You'll probably find that interesting. It's got radio on it. I would collect old watches, but they're a lot more expensive. So this is, it's got a newer case back on it because this is a watch that he wore for decades and kept repairing. So obviously the case back is not an original German one. But it's still the original German face to it. It still works if you wind it, just to show you. But obviously it doesn't keep time very accurately, but just to show you. I give that a wind. And if you look at the second hand, when it focuses on the webcam, if it focuses on the webcam, you should be able to see the second hand ticking there. Or is it stopped all of a sudden? Hang on. Yeah, it's ticking. Right. Yeah, the second hand is a bit at the bottom. I don't know if the light's shining off of it, if you can see that all that well, but you can probably see that that's going around. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, this is an old radium dial watch, so which one do you mean by that miracle machine? If you mean the Yugoslavian old, really cool mountain camo, I've never seen it for sale. I'd love to get some, but I can't test something that's incredibly rare and I can't get hold of. Brent's done a video on that, though, the guy who did the former US Marine or whatever he is, the American guy who does lots of very good camo videos. He's done well on that, so watch his video if you haven't seen it. Yeah, watch Brent's video, because his is very good on that. But yeah, it's a very rare, hard to find camo, but it's very advanced when it was made, wasn't it? Yeah, but the watch I wear now, I said I've got a bit of a watch collection, but I've not got anything particularly special in my watch collection because, you know, like I'm not prepared to spend thousands on Rolexes and Omegas or anything like that. But yeah, that's my daily wear watch at the moment, because I do like old automatic, you know, manual style watches compared to quartz movement ones if I can help it. Just get a bit of reflection on there, so it might not focus well, but there you go. That's an Orient Mako 2. Epson, same Epson that makes the printers, I would assume. So I'm assuming Epson owns both Orient and Seiko. It's a Mako 2, by the way. I'm not sure if I said Orient Seiko 2, but it's a Mako 2. There's also the Ray as well. I've got the oldest console I've got, Iron Man, is a PS1. I find some of the old games interesting, but I don't really have any interest in collecting old games consoles. Cheers, Gina. Yeah, it's just I find it interesting, because I think it might have started some of my interest when my granddad would talk to me about the Second World War, because obviously he served in the British Army during the World War II. So obviously he talked to me about stuff like that from a young age, and I just find a lot of this stuff interesting. You know, I find other things interesting that aren't military related, obviously, but I just find a lot of the more horrible sides of human history is a bit more interesting, because whenever we did history at school, if they ever went on about like politics or like, you know, dress styles of certain periods of time, that really bored me. But if they talked about diseases and, you know, like torture methods or whatever else, I just found that a lot more interesting. I don't think it's because I'm sadistic or anything like that. I just think that, you know, humans have a bit of a fascination with the darker bits of history, you know, serial killers and all that sort of stuff. Cool. What sort of display is that then on a digital watch, if it's an old Soviet one-shot zombie? What is really cool, I'd love to get one of these, but I think they're very expensive, those vacuum tube alarm clocks. You know, where they like the actual vacuum tube displays a number. They're really cool, but I imagine they would. I work at a garden centre, I remember, as a kitchen porter. I'm shit at gardening, to be honest. Every time I get a plant, it seems to die, even when I follow the instructions to the letter of how I'm meant to look after it. Yeah, well, there's no chance I can get that miracle machine, is there, if it's that rare? Okay, let me have a look. Soviet digital watch. That's kind of interesting. They kind of look like the old Casios, don't they? Some of them, and I mean like the really old Casios, not. This the one with the red one, is it? Yeah, that blurry red screen's kind of cool. Is that like the Electronica one? That's cool. Nixie tube, yeah, that's the thing. I imagine they're very expensive, aren't they? I'm just going to look them up now, but I bet they cost a lot. A DIY kit for one's 62 quid. There's one that's 52 quid. They're not too bad, but a lot of them are like several grand that are coming up online. How long do they last as well before the tubes blow? But they are bloody cool, those, aren't they? The ones I like are ones that have like the bake light or the wood kind of housing along them as well. So, you know, they look really retro. I'll have to look that up, Cookie. If it lets me. It's a footballer. I have no interest in football whatsoever. So I have nothing against him, and I have no interest in him either, because I do not give a shit about football. There you go. If you want to talk football, I think you're in the wrong place. Oh, so if you leave it on, it will last decades. Oh, they're pretty decent then, aren't they, for working? How well do they hold time? I suppose the timekeeping is probably a different mechanism, is it? And just the like the vacuum tubes are just like the display, I'd assume. I have no idea, Iron Man. I think you'd probably be better just rinsing your mouth out of alcohol or something like that, like vodka. Oh, thank you again, Laser Point. Oh, cool. So did you get all 5 for £11? That's fantastic if you did, especially if they've got a few years on them. You can keep them for like anything really serious, can't you? And they probably last beyond the expiration as well. Even £11 per filter isn't too bad, is it, if it's got a few years expiry on it? But yeah. The best deal I ever got on filters was the 2 I got for £8. Do I have one visible? I don't know if I've got all of them in... Let me have a look. This one's probably expired. That was just one that came with a mask. So obviously some filters I keep in bags ready to go. This FP5 filter expires in 2022, so that's still in date. But the filters I'm thinking of, if they're in this drawer, I don't know if they are or not. I know I've got one in my Fushida bag. They might not be in this drawer, but I've got, I think I said to you before, I think for £8 I got a pack of 2 ABEC 2P3 filters that ran out the same year I bought them, but they didn't run out, like, you know, while I bought them. They ran out a few months after I bought them. But, you know, I thought because they're still sealed and they're only like a year out of date at this point, they'll still last a bit as well. But again, it was just because there was a company that was selling them, and I think they knew once they went out of date, they'd probably have to drop the price massively. So what they'd done is they were basically like, oh, they've got a couple of months left on them. You know, £4 a filter, you know, buy 2 for £8. I was like, yep, I'll do that. No, I don't have any US civil gas masks, Lava Llama. The only US masks I've got are the M3 diaphragm mask, the XM28, the M17A2, the M40, and the MCU2P. Cool. But yeah, the only Serbian stuff we seem to get over here normally is the kind of, you know, oak leaf stuff, just because that seemed to turn up in massive amounts in the surplus market a year or two ago. Other than that, I've not seen. Oh, and I've got the old Yugoslav, like summer camo, whatever it's called. The Serbian M2 is good, yeah, Mace. Yeah, I like the Serbian M2 because it's like an M9 that's been made smaller and takes 40mm filters, so yeah, perfect. What does Shot Zombie? Sorry, I probably missed things. I'll hit the youth uniform. Yeah. But yeah, thank you again for all your donations, Laser Point. Obviously, I do appreciate it because I've spent a load of money recently, obviously, on the new PC. So obviously, yeah, it helps for collecting stuff again, because obviously, a big chunk out of my bank balance for sorting out. But at least when I get the new PC, video rendering should be a lot faster and more stable, and streaming and everything should be better, just because the PC will run cooler and whatever. I've got a German medal, but I don't know if YouTube would like me to show it. I'll tell you what, I'll show you one side of it and not the other side, because there's a nasty symbol on it that YouTube certainly wouldn't like. But okay, which side do I need to cover up? Okay, I need to put my finger on this side. It's a bit dusty, I'm afraid. But that's one side of it. Don't know if it's going to focus. I didn't pay for this at all. I got it for free. That's the bit I'm going to cover up with my finger, because I think you can guess what's on there. And I just think YouTube's algorithms will go nuts if they saw me with it. Yeah, it's just an iron cross. Yeah, I've probably told you the story about that before, but when my granddad was in Normandy, they were going house to house clearing them. And he said they found a load of discarded German uniforms and medals where the soldiers had gone AWOL. So they took the medals as souvenirs. My granddad said he found loads of German like knives. I don't know if they were Hitler Youth or like SS knives or whatever, or just like regular knives, but they took those as souvenirs as well. But the military police took them off of them when they tried to take them out, because they found them all stashed in a field hospital like storage room or something. I think he said they found like crates and crates of these like kind of like ceremonial almost knives. So all of the men took like 10 or 20 each, but then the military police took it off of them. I think it's a Hindu symbol, Richard. I don't know. It depends on all the laws in your country, Alex. I'm really not going to advise you to break into places. I mean, if it was me and there was an abandoned bunker that didn't have guards on it near me, I'd be straight in there. But I can't say, I can't encourage you to break the law now, can I? Read up on the laws in your area and everything. Australia had a gas mask with a camo pattern on it in World War II Miracle Machine. They had the light anti-gas respirator they did in camo. And also there's things like the modern Russian mask that's got a camo pattern on it, which I always forget the name of, and I still can't remember the name of. Is that the helmet, the SSH-60? I don't think I actually do have that. Let me just search it. No, I don't have that helmet. I've got the Hungarian one from the Cold War, which is very similar as far as my the liner might be a bit different, but I don't have this actual Soviet one though. What? Do you mean this mask? That's just like a Chinese half-face respirator that's surprisingly good. That's going to get a big thumbs up recommendation from me when I actually get around to doing a video on it sometime this week. But it's one Laser Point asked me to get because he was interested. We were evaluating like that one and some of the other Chinese half-face masks, if any of them are any good. And this one actually is good. But like that one's shit, so there you go. I've been on over an hour now. I'll stay on a little bit longer, but I won't stay on too long because I think Mike said he might stream some Heavy Rain tonight. So I want to watch that. And I might have a snack or something in a minute. It probably depends almost on the pattern, Miracle Machine. Because obviously you can get like digital style pixel camos in different patterns, can't you? And like regular camos. To me, it doesn't matter as long as the camo colours are good, fit in the environment. And the patterns, got kind of a micro and a macro pattern going on. I think I prefer non-pixel, I'd say, if I had to choose one, just because you can get some more interesting designs on them. Pixels will always be pixels, the individual bits, but on retro patterns, you can get all sorts of weird and wonderful kind of lines, can't you? Yeah, it's also, Richard, because like Mike said, if they raid you, or something, the police, they'll use that in court to say you're a neo-Nazi. Even if you have, like, look at how much Soviet stuff I've got, and I don't like the Soviet Union, and all the other nations, but they'll say, oh, look, you've got some German World War II stuff, you're a neo-Nazi. because that's how they unfortunately work. Yes, if I saw any Shop Zombie for a reasonable price, I'd get some, but I have never seen Blumenthal for sale. I like Blumenthal, yeah, it looks cool. It depends. I like US Marpac camo, like the woodland one the US Marines use, but I don't like, US UCP digital camo because that's shit. But Marpac's nice, and Cadpac's quite nice. But... Oh, if you mean Flecktarn, I really like German Flecktarn. That's not digital, it's actually like little dots, but yeah, that's a nice camo. I've got an East German uniform. I've got a regular East German like parade style uniform and full Stricktarn, or Stricktarn, however it's pronounced. Because I had a German guy getting angry at me going, "Nein, you're pronouncing this Stricktarn wrong." I was like, I don't really care. But I've got a PMG gas mask bag. I don't know if you mean filter pouch. I've also got the old weird socks they put over the filters. Well, the East German stuff, like £20 for the bits or whatever. East German stuff used to not be very expensive, but it's going up now. But yeah, I assume that's what you mean, isn't it? Shop Zombie, the East German, that cool, rare East German camo, because I've only got the Stricktarn. Yeah. Oh no, look at my hair length, Mike. Don't you know I secretly worship Adolf, even though I fucking hate him? Yeah. Mine's at least not crusty peach, thank you. Well, UCP, supposedly they developed because it looked good under night vision. Like, they didn't think, how does it look during the day? Or how commonly will we be in an environment where the camo looks like it fits in? They're like, it looks good under night vision, so let's green light this camo. I've got 2 different versions of the C7 mask, Maximus, they're probably right, rarest mask, British C7, Cold War, civil respirators. Depends if somebody paid me to do it and what it was. If it's something that wouldn't give me food poisoning but would just taste really bland, sure, if I was getting paid to do it. That's cool if you're finding stocks of it, because on eBay, at least like European eBay shops, we get a lot of Stricktarns harder to find now. Speaking of that, though, this is the bag I always put in my locker at work. Although I've always noticed the colour looks different on the actual like mag pouches and like the gas mask satchels than it does on the actual field uniforms. Because I always find the actual East German field uniforms in Stricktarn actually seem to be a better colour. They're like a bit more olive drab. This is a bit more brown. But yeah, it's one of I think the coolest like simple camo pattern Stricktarn. But yeah, this is a good bag for taking to work. I can fit my lunch in there and like any other thing I want to take to work. Yeah, I thought it was a gas mask bag, but the thing I couldn't see on the bottom was if there was actually like the air pouch for the filter. Because I assume you'd use it with a box or like a coffee can. I can't, unless it's like there's a bit stitched into the side somewhere so it opens up. I don't know. Or it's just a breathable fabric. I don't know if you know, but I've got a mag pouch as well, an East German one somewhere. Not in this room. But... Or maybe it might be, Richard, that they can't find jobs. Obviously, as you know, I'm not saying you're ignorant and don't know that, but like the how the media presents it, maybe they can't find jobs because there's not enough jobs going around, and lots of jobs don't pay a decent wage, and or they want too many qualifications from people that they don't have. A lot of reasons, aren't there, that lots of people are out of work at the moment. But I'm sure if we keep blaming the workers, it will fix itself. That's cool. If they sell it cheap, I'd buy all that shit up, Miracle Machine. Dutch DPM $5. Is that the one that's like British DPM, just in the lighter shades of green and brown? So the one that's like this, just like lighter browns and lighter greens? Because like the British 95 DPM is basically like the older British pattern, just they made the greens and the browns darker. But yeah, DPM is a cool camo. You can get the Soviet PMG2s/GP5Ms. They've got voice diaphragms in. You can often get them for like $5 to $10. Also, there's like Polish MUAs. They can be very cheap sometimes. You can often get the GP7s and that very cheap, but I don't think they're very good masks, to be honest. Oh, it's a typical thing, isn't it? If it's Nazi German stuff, the price has to be massively inflated. Only in YouTube videos, Mr. Sutherland. I've done fun runs and things like that to raise money for charity with like full NBC gear on for shits and giggles, but that's just an excuse for me to wear it, really. But I don't go around doing any kind of like stolen, valor bullshit or anything like that. Is it still strict tarn stuff, Shot Zombie, or is it like a different camo pattern on that, or is it just like the pocket layouts are different or the materials are different or whatever? I've noticed, though, when lots of people have shown photos from old strict tarn things, like the people who are really into collecting it, they've even like measured with rulers, the difference between the lines, and they've realised that not all the strict tarn is even the same strict tarn print, because some of it's like the shades are slightly different, but not in a faded sense, and like the space between the lines or the how much of the pattern there is before the pattern repeats is different. I'd never have the inclination to measure that with a camo. But, depends what country you're in, Roblox gamer. I don't, as much as we've got lots of stupid laws over here, I know there was a bloke who liked to go around Asda dressed in an SS uniform, and I don't know if he got arrested or not. But I'd never do that. It's fucking stupid. But, I don't have a store. Unless you're talking to somebody else, Mace. That's a pretty cool DIY project. The thing is, Cold War helmets like the Hungarian ones, I don't mind people modifying because they're so mass-produced. If somebody took something that was rare and messed about with it, like potentially ripping bits off or whatever, like we were on about with guns on one stream, that pisses me off because they're rare things. But if it's something that's like a mass-produced, common, cheap thing, I don't really see who cares, especially if they do something cool DIY with it. Yeah, if you're interested in the mug, like Weapon Collector's saying, I'm going to yell at Bart again this week to see if I can get him to hurry up and do the other merch designs that he was meant to be doing. So I think he said he made a start on one of them and then didn't do any more. That's cool, Shot Zombie. Sounds very interesting. Yeah, it doesn't have to be forest, does it? It could be like other kind of outside naturey places, but yeah. I generally never wear like camo trousers with a camo shirt or a camo shirt with camo trousers. Most of the time now I just wear the trousers just because I like all the pockets in them. But yeah, if I'm like dog walking or anything like that, you see a lot of people with camo trousers on various sorts just because they're cheap to buy as surplus and lots of people wear them for outside things. I don't think it's really fair if they're wearing regular military boots because lots of those, again, are really good hard-wearing boots. But again, if I'm out in the woods doing something, I really don't give a shit what I'm dressed as because, I'm doing it because I'm doing it for the sake of a video or I'm out doing something. But yeah, if it's somebody, especially in the city, doing it, it's like, what the hell? Well, the stuff like this, the merch, you can literally get a lot of it is made in America. Well, I think a lot of it's actually made in China, but Teespring are like a US based place, so they have like a US, a European, and I think an Asian like Teespring. So yeah, you'd literally get it shipped from an American address if you bought it anyway. Because I don't physically run the shop, I just put merch designs on there, and then Teespring print them in the colors you want and everything, and send them out to you. All right, JB, I'm afraid I'm probably going off in a minute or two because I said like 10 minutes ago I was going off and now I'm still chatting with people. But That's interesting shot, Zombie. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it, that they did so many variations of what you think would be a very simple camo. There's also obviously like Czech needle pattern, like the Czech one, isn't there? And there's a Polish and Hungarian variant of strict harm as well. Or they wouldn't necessarily call them strict harm, they call them raindrop patterns, but it's kind of fascinating, isn't there? There's so many of those kind of patterns. Yeah, full NBC gear is like way too hot, isn't it, for the summer? Yeah, I make it cheap on purpose, Alex, because I see some channels and they like charge like whatever. Because with Teespring, how it works is there's like a minimum price you have to charge for it because that covers their cost of doing it and a profit for them. And then you obviously have to have a little bit of a profit for yourself, like £1 or £2. But some stores do it to the point where they're making like £10 to £15 or dollars, like upsale on a mug. It's like, who the fuck is going to pay $30 or something for a little mug like this? So yeah, mine's priced at a price I think somebody would actually want to pay for it. Yeah, that'd be very interesting shots on me because I find stuff like that fascinating, even if, like I said, I wouldn't have the inclination myself to measure it, but I always find like how certain camo patterns progressed quite interesting. Because I'm sure somebody could do something like that, well, they probably have a British DPM. Because as I said, like the Soldier 95s I've got back there are like where it's darker browns and greens. But you get the earlier Soldier, well, I wouldn't call them Soldier 95s, but the earlier British DPMs, which is like the same kind of pattern, but it's different shades of brown and green. I just find that quite interesting, where over time they mess with the colours and stuff like that. But apparently the only reason they mess with the colours on the British stuff was simply due to the fact that they thought it looked better under night vision or something like that. I think they were saying under infrared night vision, like shortwave infrared, not long wave FLIR type kind of stuff. They were saying that the colours contrasting more meant that your shape was broken up a bit more under night vision rather than just kind of looking like a massive, slightly different shades of grey. That's good shot, Zombie. I know somebody moaned to me the other week that they bought one of the mugs and it didn't come in the colour they ordered. But I said complain to Teespring about that because obviously I can't do anything about that. But yeah, I'm glad. Well, did you get a GP5 one, didn't you? Did you say you got a GP5 one like lime green or whatever? I'll get a GP5 mug probably in red when Bart gets his next merch thing done because I want to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt in the new like parody thing he's doing. And I want to get a GP5 mug in red. Also, because the annoying thing with this mug, obviously, is if it's being washed up or whatever, I can't use it in a stream. So if I know I'm streaming, I'll specifically wash it up ready for a stream. But sometimes somebody else in the house might use my mug as well, and I'm like, fuck's sake, it's not clean. Yeah, radium green. But sadly, I doubt it ticks, does it? Yeah, nothing wrong with buying your own merch, because then you get to see it. I'm not going to do merch designs and then not get any of it, am I? Because obviously, like when I've got like a merch hoodie or a t-shirt, I can wear it when I'm streaming or whatever, and it's actually got the stuff on it, which is kind of cool. The rarest mask I know about that exists is the American Mickey Mouse mask. No, I don't get them for free. It costs me less to buy them because the profit margin I get for myself isn't charged onto it. It's just like the Teespring price and the postage I have to pay. So the prices are slightly cheaper for me to buy than other people. But that's simply because obviously any profit would be going back to me anyway. But yeah, obviously I still think it's good to buy merch and stuff like that because you can show it off in your videos, and I can say, and I also wanted to see, that the quality wasn't like shit on it, because I wouldn't want to sell something like this through a merch store only to find that, the mug would chip the first time you did like that to it or something. So, I'll stream tomorrow Roblox, but I'm not sure the exact time. It might be like 8 PM UK time in the evening again, like it was today. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, before I go off. I'll probably go off fairly soon. But a big thank you again, Laser, for all the donations today, because that was really nice of you. Because obviously you've given me quite a lot of super chats on this stream. So, again, that's really nice. Annoyingly, on this interface, I can't actually see how many super chats I've had, because I'm on a different thing, so I'm not using OBS. Bart at some point is meant to be doing an S10 and a Shums mug as well. Well, like just, a mask with a thing. All right, thank you again, Laser. I do appreciate it. I'll show that I'll show that lighter when it comes. Your name's called Laser Point Productions. Are you actually interested in laser pointers? Because if you are, I'll show you something before we go off the stream. I think I've shown it in 1 or 2 videos before, but not many. I don't know if the batteries are charged for it. That's the only problem. I think it's on there. Let me have a look. This is one I bought from China ages ago, and I don't know if it's a deadly assault weapon according to UK because it's over 1 milliwatt, but there we go. If GCHQ are watching. I should really put my glasses on for this because you can burn your retinas out with this one, but this is really cool. But again, I don't know if I've charged the batteries for this recently, so if I've not charged it, you won't see a laser. But, oh, so you've got ones that are even more powerful than this. Fair enough, laser. But I just thought I'd show you this one because I thought you'd find it interesting. The batteries go this way up? I can't remember. I know this one doesn't break if you put the batteries on. Let me just flick that light off in a second. And I definitely will go after I've shown you this. I suppose in Australia that would be a deadly weapon, wouldn't it? 2-watt laser. Jesus Christ. What you didgeridoo doing? But yeah, I mean the UK police would probably be like that as well. But I can't, that's not on, but I might put the batteries in the wrong way. If not, I'll have to charge them up and then I'll show it in another stream. Can see if it would burn through the GP5M there. It might actually. That'd be funny. I mean, I'm sure that would upset people. Oh no, the mass-produced Soviet mask, you just burned it. But, I think you can just use PayPal and stuff like that, Mace. I don't think you have to make an account. I don't actually know because obviously there we go. It is on. Ooh, look at that. There we go. So that's where it's. Let me just flick the main light off. I definitely don't want to burn my poster. But, so there you go. There's a 200 milliwatt, sorry, laser, and then it's a focusable one. So you can obviously focus that. So see that shitty mask there? I mean, I shouldn't really be doing this on an actual thing like that in case it reflects back. But something that way, because it is reflecting back. So I just wanted to see if that would burn the thing. GP5M. You kind of need it on a flat surface to burn stuff with it, because where your hand shake, it doesn't burn very well. If I had a match, I could light the match with it. See, I don't know if that's actually doing anything to that. But let's just make it big again. Yeah, it's a cool sort of laser pen. I'll have to take it out at night at some point again, but yeah, I mean, if I bought a weaker one, I'd do that laser. The only problem I found is a lot of the really 1 milliwatt ones that are the UK legal technically. Although again, the UK laws on laser pens. Let me just flip this light on a second. Again, I said I was going to go a while ago and I didn't. But the UK laws on laser pens are really weird because it's like one of those things where lots of the government sites contradict each other. So it used to say you couldn't buy one. When I got this one, it was totally legal because it said, I think it's shops can't buy or sell laser pens over 1 milliwatt, but they're legal to own. And it didn't say you couldn't import them or whatever else. So you had lots of people, sending them from other countries, and that was actually fine at the time. I don't know the laws changed since then, but it was perfectly legal when I bought it anyway. But yeah, going back to the thing, the problem is a lot of UK 1 milliwatt laser pens are built to a really shit standard. So I've had 2 that I've managed to burn out without even doing anything with them. Or I guess they have really bad heat sinks. So what ends up happening is you have them turned on for a minute and it does damage to the actual thing. So yeah, if I found, what I'd love is if I could find a green or red laser pen that's actually got a decent housing like this one. So it's not going to Or Popeye the Sailor Man, Daniel. But yeah, yeah. So getting a cheap laser pen like that one, obviously, but one that's actually got a decent housing like this one. Because if I could get one that's, you know, not going to burn out like within, you know, less than an hour's total runtime of use, even if I'm not using it very long, that would be great. But I guess several £1,000 Roblox, but I really don't know. But yeah, so basically, I'll have a look again because, you know, with it getting easier and easier to buy stuff from China online, maybe there is a Chinese company that does a green or red one that isn't very powerful but actually has a decent, you know, build quality casing on it. But yeah, then I could do that, couldn't I? So when I'm going, that's that, I can, like you say, point them out. So it's actually like a PowerPoint presentation, like you say. That's that one. That's that one. Yeah, so that, like, yeah, rare prototype mask shot zombie. But anyway, yeah, I'll definitely go off now because I keep saying I'll go off and I've not been going off. But yeah, I'll definitely go off now. Also, what I do with this laser pen is, what happens if I shine it into the webcam? Oh, that's cool. I don't know why I find that funny, but yeah, anyway. I'll take the batteries out because of this one. I always store it with the batteries out just to be safe because I don't want it turning on inside its packet and breaking. But yeah. But yeah, so basically, yeah, what I'm going to try and do is I'll stream tomorrow, probably 8 p.m. again, and I want to see if, yeah, I thought that might be the case. I'm not going to do that again. I just thought it was quite funny to do briefly, but yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I'm going to see if I can maybe find a decent laser pen that's not the really, really cheap style ones that would actually be good for pointing stuff out with, because that's a good idea. I'm not going to recommend it on this stream, Aegis, because I can't remember what it's called. And I want to end the stream now, because otherwise I'll be going and looking for them. But if you look on a video, I'm actually wearing laser goggles I've got with the shums. Like, you know, they look kind of like aviators. I think somebody captioned it, deal with it once on like a meme. But yeah, the ones I've got are quite good, but they're just kind of like big aviator style, really chunky aviators that you can wear over normal glasses, and they're like dark blue. But the color of the goggles you have to get will vary on the color of the laser. Like for red lasers, you need like a dark blue kind of goggle. For like green lasers, you need a different kind of goggle because they have to cancel out the laser basically. But anyway, I'll be off because otherwise I'll keep saying I'll be off and I haven't gone off. But yeah, thank you very much for all your donations, Laserpoint. Thank you everybody for joining the stream. It's been a really enjoyable one tonight. Time has absolutely flown. And I'll be streaming again tomorrow so we can maybe carry on the conversation and about laser pens or whatever else, right? See you then. And where's the end stream button? There it is.